Hey, solos. So I went to Walt Disney World almost all by myself in December, and I did a whole bunch of new things that were super cool for you to check out when you go to Disney solo, and I want to tell you all about them. Hi, everyone. It's Samantha. Olaf may not know who Samantha is, but now you do, and welcome to Disney Solo Magic, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about my December trip, but I've decided to take a different spin on it than the originally recorded episode because no one wants to hear about Christmas anymore. I did so many new things on this trip that I took in December, this semi-solo trip, and I just really want to focus in on those things and tell you all about them because it was so cool to experience some new things and to think about how much they enhanced the solo-ness of the trip. So I'm excited to share them all with you. All right, so you can find Disney Solo Magic on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube. You can also follow the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. There is a Patreon. It's like $4 American. It's so great to have this extra support for the podcast, and it also keeps the podcast ad-free, which it just seems like it's increasingly not the case with so many podcasts. And you can also find pictures from my solo trip in December, or my semi-solo trip in December, on Patreon if you're a free member or if you're a paid member. So if you want to see some of the pictures and things that I'm talking about, go check that out. All right, I think that's all the preamble. Let's get into it. All right. So I have talked quite a lot about the fact that my December trip just had weird energy around it. And to be honest, I think it was just the fact that it was a semi-solo trip, and I am so protective now of my time at Disney. Not like I didn't have a good time. I went with my mother and I had a lot of solo time, and also saw some friends of the podcast, but I think I was just extra wanting my solo time. The trip that I took a few weeks ago, I just came back and I just felt so energized. I was like, oh my God, this is why I go to solo. This is why I go to Disney solo, to get this infusion of energy, this infusion of light and color and sun and magic, and it was just really wonderful. And I mean, I've been promising this December episode for so long. I wanted to get it up before I left on that trip in January, but then the power went out. And then I just came back and I was like, you don't want to hear about Christmas, but I don't want to not tell you about this trip, because I realized when I came home that I did so many new things during that trip, and that and those new things are useful things to tell you about, because you might want to do them when you are there solo, or they're just there on an adult trip. Like, I was talking with this one couple, and the woman was like, my husband and I, her husband was there, we've never been to Disney without the kids, and last night I checked on ChatGPT, what should I do as an adult at Disney? And I was like, oh girl, do I have a podcast for you? So so obviously some of these things can be broadened for adults as well, but we're going to focus on the solo-ness of it. Now, I am not good at numbering lists while I am talking, so we're going to start with 1, 2, and 3, and then we'll just go we'll just go off in the ether. So what I'm actually going to do is do it chronologically, of all the different things that I did and that were new, and then hopefully that inspires you to check it out yourself. So the first thing, I also want to say that, I did a podcast earlier in the year about having an annual pass. And so I didn't have an annual pass on this trip. And again, I was there with my mother, and she's not really a park goer. And so I had planned on going to the park for one day on my own. And then the rest of the time it was going to be resort days, Disney Springs, all of that stuff. So a lot of this stuff is I guess Disney Springs resort stuff, which I love telling you about them, and I love doing them because I find that those are the hidden things at Disney that nobody talks about. And so and I'm okay that people aren't talking about it, because Okay, anyway, whatever. I was just gonna do a rant about social media. I'm okay if people don't talk about them, but I still want you to know about them. I still want you to go and do them because, again, these are the moments of just having fun and exploring things at Disney. So I'm gonna start with our first night, which was at Disney Springs. I haven't been to a lot of restaurants at Disney Springs. I go to Earl of Sandwich a lot. They have this vegetarian Greek sandwich that is just really good, full of feta cheese and cucumbers, and it's olive oil. It's just really delicious. And I haven't really had great, I'm trying to think, I haven't had great experiences at any of the sit down restaurants. I've had good experiences at some of them, but nothing that blows my socks off. This time what we did was we went to Morimoto Asia Street Food. So my mother is my mother is older. She's going to be 75 in August, and she doesn't eat a lot. And so when we do a sit down restaurant, I don't know, she just feels a lot of pressure to eat and order all this stuff. And then I feel a pressure to not get an appetizer and an entree and a dessert because maybe anyway, whatever, solo travel is better. So I was let's just go try the street food area. So Morimoto Asia is a big giant restaurant, but on the outside they have a very small kitchen with a few benches for sitting, and they have dumplings and things like that. So I ordered the chicken dandan noodles, which was noodles, bok choy, ground chicken, shallot, peanuts, and it had a sweet sauce. They also had a ramen soup, but this was a no soup type of noodle. And then my mother also had gotten the chicken skewers, an egg roll, some dumplings, and then we tried all of those things. So first, when we were there, they asked if we had any discounts. And again, I don't have an annual pass right now. So I'm always no, I don't. And then my mother was how about the cute discount? Because we're so cute. And the guy was okay. So we got a discount, and I was oh, Disney magic, you know what I mean? So that was great. We got, I don't know, a 10-15% discount, and I really enjoyed the noodles. It was December, right? So it was a little bit chilly, and so the fact that I had some hot noodles was perfect for that particular night. The other things are out during the day, in a glass case, and so if there is a lot of foot traffic, then the food would be more fresh. But if there isn't a lot of foot traffic, then the food would just kind of be sitting there. So the rest of the food that my mom got, all the picky stuff that we all, that we shared together, they were good, but some of the stuff definitely felt like it had been out all day. If you like Asian food and you kind of tapas style Asian food, then it's a good place to get a snack. I definitely would recommend the dandan noodles. They were really good, but I can't imagine eating them in the hot Florida heat. But I've never been to the Morimoto restaurant or the street food, and so I was so happy to be able to try this new restaurant, and I would definitely recommend going and check it out. I do want to go to Morimoto Asia, and to be honest, my brother-in-law, although he's Italian, he loves Asian food, and I had been hoping that he and my sister would come to Disney in August and then we could go there all together, but that's not going to happen, and that's why you should not wait for other people to do the things you want at Disney. The next morning for brunch, we went over to the yacht club and we went to the Ale and Compass restaurant for brunch, like I said. Had a reservation and all that. And one of the things that one of the reasons why I wanted to try that restaurant is because every time I pass it, it always seems so empty. I was wrong. So we got one of the last times for our breakfast reservation. I guess it was 10 or 10:30, which is not a problem because I don't really like mornings. So why rush in the mornings if you don't want to? But if you want to, of course, solos do it. And when we got there, it was packed. Now, it may have been packed because it was Christmas time, and so there was a train display right outside, and people could be doing the circuit of Christmas decorations and all of that stuff. But we were quite surprised how busy it was. We were sat at a table, I don't know, within 10 or 15 minutes after we got there, which was fine. I met a really, really nice cast member who just kept telling me how pretty I was. And I was like, thank you, ma'am. That's so nice of you. But then she gave me a bad table. So there was like a table off to the side. Like it was a side room, and we walked in and it felt separated from the rest of the dining room. It also like smelled like damp air conditioning, and it was cold, and there was a large party in there. And I was like, no, I don't want to sit here. I don't want to sit here. Now, look, speaking of my little sister, my little sister hates it when I do this because she's like, oh my God, you're so annoying. Just take the table they gave you. And I was like, no, I don't want to. There are other tables here. I mean, sometimes there aren't other tables, and then that's fine. But in this case, I know the customer service is a priority for Disney, and I can also see the dining room. I see that there's other tables. So I just said to the man who sat us, like, oh, this table's not going to work for us. It's too cold in here. It's very loud. And to be honest, he was a little like rude about it. And I think he was autistic. Like it didn't feel like in keeping with Disney. And he's like, well, you're going to have to wait longer. And I was like, yeah, no problem. I'm happy to wait longer, but I don't want to eat in a corner and like I don't want to eat in a corner of like a cold, damp room. But then we like go back out to like the main area, and then he's like, okay, we have another table for you. Yes, of course. Thank you. Of course. And so I was like, oh, thank you so much. Like, again, ask for what you want. That's one of the most popular episodes on this podcast. But obviously be like gracious and kind about it, and be aware of whether or not they can do it, right? Like, yes, I knew that they could accommodate this request. So we were sat in the main dining room. Again, it was very busy, but because it was the last or the second to last seating, by the time we were like midway through eating, it was basically empty in there. So that was kind of perfect because we were able to get like the big, like the rush of people, and like the food was still hot and all that stuff. And then got to be very quiet as they switched over to lunch. So that worked out really well. Now, one of the other things I really wanted to figure out was whenever I've passed the restaurant, I can see at the front there is something like a buffet, but it's not a buffet. Like there definitely isn't as much food. And there's something called a continental enhancement that you can see when you're looking at the app, for example, and it's $28. It's fresh fruit, assorted yogurt parfaits, breakfast pastries, granola, warm cinnamon rolls. And so I just thought like it was something like I just thought it was like a buffet. Like if you wanted to spend $28, then you could have these, you could, have the fruit, and you can have all of this stuff. But what I learned, which you don't see on the app, which was so amazing, is that there are all these different entrees: steak and eggs, American breakfast, chicken and waffles, dark chocolate waffles, crab cake Benedict, breakfast quiche, protein bowls, all of this stuff. And they're between $16 and $23. I'm looking at the app as I'm talking. The Continental Enhancement is $28. But what that means is that it's not $28 plus $21 for steak and eggs. If you ordered steak and eggs and got the Continental Enhancement, it cost $28. So I'm going to say that again. When you look on the app, it looks like the Continental Enhancement is an additional thing for $28. And so if you were going to get that, and so what I got, for example, was the shrimp and white cheddar grits for $23. So if I wanted the Continental Enhancement, I wasn't paying $28 plus $23 for my shrimp and grits. I paid $28. The shrimp and grits is $23. But I paid $28, and that got me the Continental Enhancement and my shrimp and grits. Oh, and a drink. So I said to the waiter, I was like, when I saw the menu, I'm holding the menu and I'm looking at it. I like asked him, so it's $5 more to get all that food up there and a drink? And he's like, yeah. And I said, so it'd be stupid not to do that. And he's like, yeah. And he was correct. He was correct. Now, you might think that as a solo, that would be too much food. And like, it was a lot of food, but I also felt like it was 10 o'clock or 10:30. So that's brunch. And to get like the grits and like the shrimp and grits and then do the continental enhancement, that would like probably take me through dinner. And it definitely did. And it was great. The continental enhancement was really awesome. Like they had deviled eggs, they had the granola, they had like biscuits and gravy. Please, can someone please tell me why biscuits and gravy is white? Like what is the white coming from? It's not a Canadian thing, and it's weird. And then a ton of fruit. So blueberries, watermelon, grapes, banana bread, like a ton of different stuff. Yogurt, like handmade yogurt. I said deviled eggs. Like I couldn't believe how much food was there, and it was all really delicious, all really fresh. And I like a little bit of sweet at breakfast or brunch, but not a lot. So to have the shrimp and grits and then to like slowly graze through the banana bread and the fruit and the deviled eggs, and again I left the chicken and not the chicken and waffles, the gravy and biscuits aside, but then the yogurt and all the stuff, it was great. And then I was able to get a nice tea, and so just like constant refills. It was great, and it really did keep me full all day. Now, my mother, I don't remember what she ordered, but she didn't do the continental enhancement because her appetite isn't that big. Although I was like, here's a piece of banana bread, like I wouldn't recommend like doing that. They would definitely call it out, but for just two ladies like ourselves sharing a couple pieces of banana bread and some fruit, they didn't have an issue with it. But like the continental enhancement was definitely worth it. Now, if you were ordering something on the menu that was $16 and the continental enhancement then would cost $28, like maybe you would rethink it. But for me, all that extra food for $5 extra was totally worth it. So will I go back to Ale and Compass? Yeah, I think so. I would check out to see if it was less busy when it wasn't Christmas. And I would go on a day where I wasn't planning on having lunch, or I was happy to like just to be very full for the day. But it was kind of a great deal, $28 for all the food that I had. So the next thing that we did that, I mean, I guess I kind of have done this, but not quite in this way, was because we were doing a resort day. I was like, you know what? I just want to bring my book, and I want to like sit and relax and just like not worry about the next thing, which is hard at Disney, right? Because you're always going. We were staying at one of the All-Stars. I can't even remember. My mother loves this particular coffee at the Riviera Resort. And I also remembered that the Caribbean Beach Resort has this beautiful like white sand beaches with, you can't swim in the water, but it had hammocks and things like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to bring like a different dress, like a sundress, and let's go to, and I brought a book, and I was like, and let's go to Caribbean Beach after she got her coffee, and I got my lavender lemonade at the Le Petit Cafe, and we just sat on the beach in the sand at the Caribbean Beach Resort for like an hour, and I read, and she did her crossword. The hammock that I chose, unfortunately, was broken. I like fell right down. It was kind of funny, but it was still so peaceful just to kind of sit on that beach and just relax. And it wasn't our resort, right? But we weren't the resorts can be used, obviously not the pools, but the resorts can be used. So to just like relax on the beach was just really great. And it's December, right? So to be able to feel the sand for us Canadians was really amazing as well. Now, my mother and I stayed at Caribbean Beach a few years ago, and there is this place on the island in the middle where the pool is, or the main pool is. Actually, no, it's not where the pool is, because the pool is just right outside the quick service restaurant. But there is an island right outside that pool that would like cross to anyway, there's a little island there, and there are hammocks there, and there's also a few Muskoka chairs, or I guess for some of you it would be Adirondack chairs. And I remember that we actually did that a few years ago. We sat in those like kind of hidden Muskoka chairs, and we read, and we after we went swimming, we read and she did her crossword and all that stuff. But I really wanted the sand. So I was able to go and just read on the beach. Now, there are other beaches. There are other places where you can experience the sand at different resorts. So yes, Caribbean Beach. I mean, the Riviera too, because it's so close. Coronado Springs, Polynesian, Grand Floridian, like the spaces between Polynesian and Grand Floridian, Fort Wilderness. All of these places have a beachfront where there's some sand. And so if you're interested in doing that, go find some sand. But if you want something like grass, there's also a lot of that too. So that kind of connection with nature, relaxing, not like looking at the schedule. It was great. It was really enjoyable to do that. All right, so for dinner, I also want to try someplace new, but what I wanted to try was to see if we could eat without waiting at one of the lounges rather than get a reservation at a restaurant. So we went over to Narcoossee's, which was at the Grand Floridian, without a reservation, and we just went up and said, can we go sit at the bar and have dinner there? And the cast member was like, sure, we need to check you in, but yes, of course. And then she, points over to the bar and there's 8, 9 seats and they're completely empty. And we sat at the bar. Neither of us drink, so it's not like we were ordering booze or anything like that. And we ordered entrees and appetizers, and we had an amazing dinner. And the line to get into Narcoossee's, there was a bit of a wait. We didn't have a reservation. It's a signature restaurant, but we were able to skip it completely. And this is something I have said so many times on this podcast. Go to the lounges, especially at signature restaurants. You can go and get a table at a lounge or sit at the bar and not have to wait in line or make a reservation. And maybe that is a little bit easier for you if you felt a little bit weird about eating in a dining room by yourself. You shouldn't, but if you do, then the lounge is a great option. And so, yeah, we sat at the bar. This bar, like this lounge bar seating at Narcoossee's, isn't even on the website. So we sat at the bar, we ordered all the food. We had an amazing bartender serve us the whole time. His name was Edwin. He showed us his wedding pictures by the end of the evening. I tipped him so much because it was like the Christmas party was happening at Magic Kingdom, and I had kind of debated whether or not I should go. It was sold out, but I kind of debated whether or not I should go and see if I could get a ticket for one. And I was just on the fence about it the whole day. And then I thought, no, I'll tell you why I said no, because I got this really cute dress from Old Navy, but I didn't think it would last. Like, I think I would have sweat and been cold. And I didn't think it would last like the whole night at Magic Kingdom, and I wanted to wear it. So that's why I was like, okay, I'm not going to go and see if I can get a ticket. Let's just go right to the restaurant and just enjoy the evening there. And so the fact that the server was so wonderful to us, I was like, here's a big tip. Like, I've already saved so much money tonight because I didn't go to the Christmas party. Here's a big tip. So yeah, go to Narcoossee's, go and sit at the bar. You don't need to drink alcohol. It was great. And again, there's Citricos, also at Grand Floridian. They have a full lounge. I mean, almost all the signature restaurants and other kind of fancy restaurants have some sort of like lounge bar seating. Just go in and see what you can get. And then we were talking to the cast members at the restaurant, like, is the bar full usually, or is it usually empty like this? And he was saying that like sometimes there are big crowds of people that are doing like a monorail crawl, drinking crawl, and so then the bar would fill up with people having drinks. And there was a group of like 4 or 5 people that came in just for drinks and then they left. But he's like, that doesn't happen all the time. It seemed very empty to me. So go check out the lounges, go sit at the bar. It was great. And the menu was exactly the same. Like they might give you a menu if you go to a bar or a lounge and it will look different. But if they share the kitchen, they can get you everything on the main menu. So do not worry about that. Now, this is something that I have done before, the next thing that I'm going to talk about, but I realized I could do it special this time. So I've mentioned on the podcast that my new favorite thing is to go outside on the like fire escapes at the Contemporary Resort and watch Magic Kingdom fireworks from there. So I did that the first night. And then I realized, oh, I can go watch the Christmas fireworks from the Christmas party there the next night. And so after dinner, I put my mom in an Uber, said goodbye, and then made my way over to the Contemporary Resort and watched the Christmas fireworks from there. And that was really special. I'm glad, like, that was a really nice way to kind of bring that Christmas in. I should say, though, I don't really like the Christmas fireworks from the party. So it was kind of interesting to like see that again without being at the party. But anyway, it was still cool. I love watching the fireworks from there. I always have a little cry and take a picture of myself or a friend to be like, oh, look, I'm stuck in a parking garage. And he's like, panics. And then he's like, oh, right, you're just watching fireworks. All right, so let's move on to the next day. I went to Magic Kingdom for the day by myself, and I was able to do something new at Magic Kingdom, which doesn't always happen, which was to go to the Beak and Barrel. So the Beak and Barrel is their new bar that is attached to Pirates of the Caribbean, and they have a very strict seating limit. And a lot of times I'll tell you, like, if you're trying to find a table or whatever, make a reservation for two because it's the same table, and it's just a computer system saying we don't have any like one spots, but we have two spots, but they're going to put you at the same table, so don't worry about that. But at Beak and Barrel, actually, there's a lot of spots they can put you for one that doesn't feel like they just like put you in the kitchen. So there's actually a lot of places that just have like a bar seating, and it's great for solos. And so if you are trying to go to Beak and Barrel, try to get a seat for one, a reservation for one, rather than for two, for example, and then making the modification, because there are actually good options for solos. So, like a lot of people, I was really excited to go and check out Beak and Barrel, Pirates of the Caribbean, the theming, all of that stuff. And I really enjoyed it. The theming was amazing. It was very busy, obviously, and I would have loved to go and like spend more time looking around. So I think when it becomes a little less busy, then it'll be a little bit more fun to go and spend some time, because then you can really appreciate the ambiance because it won't be so packed. The other thing is that they're really, really strict with the time limit. So when I checked in and then when I was seated, the cast members, both cast members were like, hi, welcome to your 45-minute voyage, and you have 2 alcoholic drinks only. It's like, okay, got it. So I liked the Beak and Barrel. I definitely will go back. But I found that the cast members were busy and rushed. And like, because of that, they were like not overly friendly. Like I said, like the night before, the bartender was like super fun. He made me a drink and I was like, oh, Edwin, I don't like this. And he's like, no problem. What else can I make you? And I was like, a virgin mojito? And he's like, sure. Do you want with this and this and this? And I was like, amazing. So the cast members at the Beak and Barrel, like, they're busy, right? Like, they're busy. They got to keep the tables turned. And then I had said, oh, I saw there was a souvenir cup. And before I even said anything else, he just like cut me off to be like, it's only for that one drink and there's nothing else I can do about it. Like it was like, not that he was like rude to me. It's like he just was like, had answered that question so many times and they had no wiggle room. So again, I chalk that up to it being a new restaurant and it being really busy, but I didn't love that. Like, it didn't really. Anyway, I'll be back, but it wasn't the best the best first impression. Now, there are only like 4 things to eat. There's the island provisions, the griddle corn cakes with chicken, and then the griddle corn cakes with peppers, and then Kraken's Catch, which is octopus in lemon and lime juice with olives, bell peppers, avocados, etc. There's also some non-alcoholic beverages, which are really fun. And then there are obviously a ton of alcoholic beverages. You can only get 2 alcoholic beverages. So I ordered the Island Provisions, which is a buffet of different chips. I also ordered the griddle corn cakes with chicken, and I don't like olives, so I didn't get the Kraken's Catch, but if I was with somebody that liked olives, I would order it. It just seemed like a lot of picking out. I had no problem eating the octopus. It was the olives that I'm just like, ugh. It's the devil's food, if I do say so myself. I ordered both of the non-alcoholic drinks, and one of them came with like an ice cream bar cake pop thing that wasn't that great. So the chips, the Island Provision chips buffet, I would skip it. There was really nothing that great about it, and there wasn't so much there that I don't know. Don't get it. It's not worth it. Like, usually I'm not so like harsh about my opinions for you, so you can explore it on your own, but like honestly there was really no reason to get that. The griddled corn cakes with chicken though was actually delicious. It was so good. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it so much that I wish there were more things on the menu, because obviously like a lot of thought went into those flavors. So I definitely would get that. And then there was a version that was vegetarian with the peppers. And so if you're vegetarian, you can go and try that. I enjoyed the Cursed Treasure non-alcoholic drinks, which was coconut milk, cookie crumbles, vanilla foam, and Pirate's Gold. I think I just really enjoyed the coconut milk. Like, I was surprised to have that in a drink, but it was in a, what is it called? A mule. It was in one of the mule cups, and I just don't like that metal around my food or my mouth. So I didn't like that. And then the Treasure Trove non-alcoholic drink was ube lemon coconut. So again, I was excited about that. And then a vanilla cake plank. So that was the cake pop, a chocolate cannonball and then golden popcorn. I mean, that's more of a dessert, really. It was fine. It wasn't that great. I mean, it was fine, but the Cursed Treasure was a lot more interesting, and it was cheaper. What was cool is that I got to sit beside another solo, and she was there solo to the Beacon Barrel, but she was actually doing a longer trip with her sister and her brother-in-law and her like toddler niece. And so we talked about solo travel, and it was nice to like sit beside somebody and chat, especially because the waiters weren't that friendly. So it just was a nice connection, and it was nice to like talk to her about like solo travel. So if she's listening, actually, I told her about the podcast. If she's listening, hello, it was great to meet you. The other thing that I did for the first time, although I did kind of start this one other December trip, but I never finished it, was to do the Christmas tree crawl or the Christmas tree stroll at Disney Springs. So I've mentioned that Disney Springs can do a lot more with the holidays than the rest of the Walt Disney World Resort, because it's a lot smaller, and all of the individual stores and things like that, they can participate if they want or they don't want, and usually they want, because it is a good, publicity for them. So what Disney Springs does during Christmas is that they have all these unique Christmas trees that are around Disney Springs, and you have to go and find them. And then you have like a game board, a scavenger hunt board, and when you find it, you put the sticker on, and then you can redeem your game thing for like a Christmas ornament. It was a Christmas ornament this year. I think in past years there were better things, because I don't even remember how I got this, but I got like a t-shirt at a discount t-shirt. This was way after Christmas. I think I don't remember. So anyway, it was a Christmas ornament. It wasn't that special, but it was really cool looking at all the Christmas trees. And obviously you can do that without the scavenger hunt thing. But what was really funny is that the Christmas trees were hard to find. Some of the Christmas trees were hard to find, and it was really cool to like see how many adults, like groups of adults and like adults by themselves, were doing this Christmas tree stroll on their own, and like really looking at the map and really like matching the stickers. And it was just kind of cool because it actually made you feel part of something bigger. Like, I saw this one man, he like, in a million years, I would never have pointed him out on the street and said he was a Disney fan. And he had like one of those like hiking backpacks. And there he was with his map, and he was like seriously looking for a couple of the trees. And he's like, "Do you know which direction this is?" And it was really cool. So I would go check that out and do it, like participate in doing it if you're there during Christmas. The other thing that I did at Disney Springs, which was the first time I did it, but I have done it since, is I went to the rooftop bar at the Coca-Cola store at Disney Springs, and I had a couple drinks there. So there's a big Coca-Cola store. It's like 3 or 4 stories high. The top of it is a open rooftop bar, non-alcoholic bar, and you can get all these different types of Coke there. Obviously, there's a Coke Freestyle machine, but then you can also get things like different international Cokes and different international sodas. You can get floats, you can get mocktails, and what I love is that you can get a mocktail flight or a root beer or like a soda float flight, or you can get a tasting menu of like multiple different international drinks. And I love non-alcoholic drinks, and I also love being able to try different things. And usually when you see a flight, it is an alcoholic thing, right? It's different beers or different wines and all that stuff. So to go and say, "Oh, I'll do a mocktail flight," and then there's a whole series of different drinks to be able to try, and then to pick 3 of them. And then I would like go over and stand and like look out at Disney Springs, and you could see the balloon, and it was just so wonderful. It was just a really cool experience. And I don't even like drink a lot of Coke, so it was cool to be able to have options that weren't actually that Coke focused. That's why I hadn't ever gone there before, because I'm like, well, I don't really drink Coke, but if it was like, this was during December, so if it was cranberry and Sprite and this and this and this, and they designed them so well, so they all look so cute. Oh my gosh, it was really cute and a really awesome thing to do solo. Now, they have like this, like I said, it's not really a flight, but it's a sampler of all these different types of international sodas. There were a lot of them. There's like 16. So I think it might be too much for one person to handle. Like I would see tables of 4 people, and they still had a lot of soda to try. But I found the flight of 3 mocktails like a perfect dessert amount. Like it wasn't, it didn't satiate my thirst, but it was like a really nice treat, like a dessert treat. So yeah, it was a great portion for one. Now, when I was there in January, I actually did that again. I got 3 different things for my mocktail flight. I'm not really a Taylor Swift fan. I'm not anti-Taylor Swift. Don't worry if that scared you. But I'm not like a huge Taylor Swift fan. But as I was like walking over to the area where I was going to stand and drink my sodas and be in the sun and like look at the Disney Springs helium balloon, the Florida song came up from Taylor Swift's new Florida song came up, and I was just like, I freaking love it here. So anyway, it's a great place to go check out. Now, when you go, you can walk up or take the elevator. The first thing you're going to notice when you go is that the music is very loud. Like it feels like a bar, and it feels like the music is really loud. It might feel like, oh, this is not like the environment for me. But if you go to like the very end, the music isn't so loud. You're not as covered, but the music isn't so loud. And it's actually a very family-friendly environment. So it might feel like you should be 20 in Miami in a bikini, but once you're actually there, that's not the experience. So definitely go and check that out. All right. And the last thing that I am so excited to share with you, and I will be talking about it again, is that I did a painting class at the Riviera Resort. And I have never done this painting class before. And it was hilarious and super fun. So I did an episode, I don't know how long ago now, but it was on enchanting extras in the resorts. And I talked about how there were, yes, the tie-dye by the pool and things like that, but there were also other types of crafts or arts, arts or crafts, however you want to think about it, that is a little bit more money and that you might think they're for kids, but actually a lot of adults do them. And one of the things I've talked about is doing a mosaic, and you can do that at Coronado. If you go on the Disney website or the app, you'll see the Coronado mosaic as an enchanting extra. But I have learnt since then, because I worked so hard to get my Coronado reservation for that mosaic. I have learnt, though, that actually almost every resort has a similar mosaic thing. It's just that Coronado has it on the website, but the other resorts have just like a walk-up mosaic thing. What also a lot of resorts have is a walk-up painting thing. It's a 2-hour class, and the mosaic is also like 2 or 3 hours. And I think the mosaic is like $25, $35. The painting, I think, is about $45 or $50. And it's a painting class. You won't see this on the website, but if you like walk by, the activities at your resort, you might see it listed on the board. Now, you might see it and be like, oh, I missed it today. But Solos, it's at every resort pretty much. And you can go to any resort and do any of these activities. So when my mother and I went and got her special coffee at the Riviera, I went to see about their painting class, and it was going to be on the day that we left. It was going to be in the morning, and I said breathlessly to the woman, the cast member who was there, like, can I sign up? Like, what are you painting? Well, first I asked her, what are you painting? And she said, actually, we don't know because it's a new month. It was the beginning of December, and we don't have the sample yet. And she's like, but you can just come by the day of and see if you like the painting. And if you do, then you can sign up. And I was like, yeah, but like, what if you're sold out? And she's like, oh, I don't expect to be. Just come like 15 minutes before. And I was like, but what if you're sold out? And she's like, yeah, we don't expect to be. And I'm like, but at Coronado, it took months for me to get that reservation. She's like, yeah, well, Coronado is special because it's on the website, but a lot of the resorts have similar activities. Do you want to see the schedule? I was like, yes. Literally nothing would bring me more pleasure to see the schedule. Now, that schedule is on Patreon, again, for free and paid members. I don't want to do it like public because I don't know how public the information was. Like, it was on a nicely designed sheet, so I assumed it wasn't super private, but again, I didn't get permission to like post it like big and publicly, So she showed me the schedule for all the painting and all the mosaic classes across the resorts. And basically every weekday there is painting or a mosaic at one of the resorts. And it's usually like starting in these kind of odd times, which is unfortunate if you're planning your park day. And you do not need to stay at the hotel to be able to participate in them. So after she gave me the schedule, I was like, okay, great. Well, I'll see if I can come back because again, it was our last day. I'll see if I can come back. I'm really worried you're going to sell out that one. She's like, no, don't worry about it. I was like, okay. So we went from our resort over. So it was our last day. We check out of our hotel. We put our bags at the concierge, and then we go over to, we were staying at Pop Century. So we took the Skyliner over to Riviera, and we go order breakfast. And then I'm like looking at the clock and I see the time is coming and I'm so panicked. So I go over to the clubhouse to go sign up, and it's just like the cast member and the art teacher standing there, and they were like setting up tables for like 4 people. And I was like, oh my God, hi, are you sold out? And she's like, no, you're the only one. And I was like, sorry, what? She said, well, if you stay, you're the only person. Oh my gosh, Solos. I'm laughing for 2 reasons. One, how like panicked I was, and how in hindsight she was like, girl, you're going to be fine. And 2, that I was the only one. So she showed me what we would be painting if I decided to show up or decided to sign up. And it was Cinderella's carriage inspired by Mary Blair. And I was like, okay, well, I like that. And I actually don't have a problem doing these things alone, as the podcast kind of indicates. So I was like, okay, I'll sign up. So I sign up and I'm thinking to myself, like, other people are gonna be here, right? And then when the clock struck 11, they closed the doors to the clubhouse. And it was just me and the teacher. And I was like, you're kidding. It's not just you and I. And they're like, yeah, nobody is here. Nobody signed up. And I just assumed like people would come and like come midway through. But no, it's an art class. You can't come and go. The teacher's instructing something. So they lock the doors. Now, the teacher is not the teacher is a third party person. So the cast members, the entertainment, not entertainment cast members, but the recreation cast members let the teacher into the room, and then they actually went into the back room. So it was just me and this teacher in the Riviera Clubhouse. And remember, I was there with my mom. I knew my mom wouldn't do any of the painting. So she comes into the room with me, and it was just really funny. So she's like, I guess I'll pick you up in 2 hours. And then the art teacher was like, we'll call you if she gets out of hand. It was just really, I mean, I was telling the story to a friend and he was just like, that sounds so cringeworthy. But to be honest, Solos, it really wasn't. I recognize why people could think it was cringeworthy, but it wasn't. It was just really, really funny. So usually the teacher does the stuff up at the front of the room, but she's like, oh, if it's just you and me, then I'm going to make another sample. So I'm just going to sit beside you and we'll do it together. And they had a TV on and it was playing something. And I was like, can we put something else on? They're like, what do you want to watch? I was like, well, Cinderella. We're doing a Cinderella, paint thing. Let's watch Cinderella. And it wasn't part of the approved movies at Riviera. So they had to get special permission to play Cinderella on Disney Plus, which was funny. But they're like, we'll do it for you because you're the only one here. I was like, yeah, that's right. I'm the only one here. So for 2 hours, me and the art teacher sat beside each other while Cinderella was playing on the big television, and she led me through this painting activity to do a carriage that was inspired by Mary Blair's artwork, and she did a painting and then I did a painting, and it was fun. It was great. It was relaxing. It was nice to be alone after a semi-solo trip. And I know some of you, this would be your worst nightmare, but for me, it was just amazing. I had a really great time. I had a really great time. And then an hour into it, somebody's trying to open the doors because we're locked in, and we can't open the doors because we're not Disney cast members. So we have to call the cast members out. And I'm like, I bet that's my mom. And it was. Mom's like, hey, I'm just checking in. And I was like, yeah, no, we're doing good. She's like, great. I'll go get another coffee and sit outside. I was like, bye. It was really funny. And the paint activity was really great. And I would not consider myself a painter. That's not really my art medium. But I really enjoyed it. It was with a stencil and freehand. Obviously the instructor gives you all the paint and the brushes and all that stuff. And she gives you a lot of feedback. She gave me a lot of feedback because I was the only one to give feedback to. But we talked about how the process works when there's a lot of people. And she's like, yeah, I'm walking around and I'm telling people this and I'm telling people that. And when there's kids here, I'll give some modifications. And so it really felt like even if you were there solo and the room was full of people, you could still have your private painting experience and get feedback from the teacher as you were doing it. Now, I also did a painting of a board, a wooden board, and that was a much different thing. It cost a lot more. It also included snacks and drinks and all that stuff. And that was full of people, and she would like come around and give the feedback. And I found that she actually, because I was like asking specific questions, she was really like helpful and useful. So I have had great experiences with both like sets of painting teachers. Now the mosaic class, I'm pretty sure, is run by cast members. So I think it's at the boardwalk actually, where it's not even at a set time. They just do it all the time. Like you can go anytime during the day. Well, actually, let me look that up as I'm talking about it. So yeah, at the Boardwalk Resort, every day from 10 to 10 at the community hall, they do a mosaic. And then Tuesdays, they have it at Animal Kingdom, Saturdays at All Star Music, Mondays and Fridays at Contemporary Resort, Sundays and Tuesdays at Riviera, Port Orleans Riverside on Sundays, Port Orleans French Quarter on Wednesdays, and Coronado Springs on Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. The painting is offered at French Quarter on Monday, at Animal Kingdom on Wednesdays, at Fort Wilderness at 11:30 on Tuesdays, at Wilderness Lodge on Thursdays, Sarasota Springs Thursdays, Riviera Thursdays, Fridays at Yacht and Beach Club, and Coronado on Fridays. Now, again, sometimes they are at 11, sometimes they're at 4. They're at kind of weird times, so definitely go check. Again, it's on Patreon, but it's a great thing to do. It's a great thing to do when you're there solo. And don't be worried if you're the only one. In fact, when I did the mosaic class, I was so worried. This was a few years ago now. Well, I guess 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago in January. I was so worried I was going to be the only adult there. And I got there and everyone was like waiting to be let into the room. And I look around and I texted a friend and I said, it's all middle-aged women. It's all women between the ages of 30 and 50. There are only 2 children. So if you're worried about doing these activities and you think, oh, it's going to be all children, it's not. It's really all for adults. So go check that out. Yeah, totally great. So one of the episodes that I want to do, but I need to like clean my office because I want to do a video episode and I want to show you my artwork so you have an idea about what you would be doing if you did any of these activities. But super, super fun. So I really enjoyed recording this episode and all the like new things that I did because it actually it brought back some really like fun memories. Again, nothing bad happened on the trip. It was just, when you're semi-solo, you don't get to do everything you want. But it was cool to do all these new things. And it was kind of cool to realize that I had done so many new things on the trip. I hadn't realized that. But one of the reasons why I got to do so many new things is because it was a resort trip. So I wasn't as tired as if I was doing all the parks. And then I really wanted to get the most out of the time during the day and in the evening because it wasn't park time. So yeah, it was great to be able to try all these new things, try these new food, try these new experiences, and I hope that you will try some of them based on this episode. So I hope you enjoyed and look out for the video episode in which I get to show you all my artwork. Lucky you. Until next time, everyone. Bye. Hey solos, it's Samantha. I hope you like this episode and all the episodes of Disney Solo Magic, the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World. This 2026, consider supporting the podcast by becoming a Patreon member. Your Patreon membership helps offset the cost of running the podcast, but also creates a little fund for me to try new things when I'm at Disney Solo and tell you all about them when I get back. Patreon members get a reflection after every episode, and that is like a mini episode in and of itself where I give you some behind the scenes stuff that I don't want on the public feed. Thank you again for listening. Please make sure you also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. Please make sure you subscribe, like, review, share on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.